back to the Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor of TVBinges.com, and I am joined, as always, by a fellow TV Binges writer. She's filling out her eHarmony profile as we speak. Olivia Richards, hello!
Hey! Yep, I'm doing that right now.
Inspired by this show that premiered on the CW last night, and that we might have been the only two people in the world to watch it. It's Dates. Olivia, what did you think of this pilot?
Oh, that was weird. Okay, that's the thing. I was sort of like 50-50 on it because I feel like this is going to be one of the shows that we talk about that's going to be really divided depending on if you really like shows about like interpersonal connection. This show definitely, I think, going to be one of the shows that you're going to like. And if you like shows that are more action based and have like a lot going on in them, then this show probably is going to be at the bottom of your list.
Yes. What was one of the like striking things that hit me about 20 minutes in, is that it's weird to be watching a show in which nobody dies. Like it's just like you think about like the TV landscape, especially the drama landscape, and this is, I would say, a dramedy. Class. I mean, it's kind of a comedy, but there's no studio audience or anything, and it's not like going for jokes in the way that like a single cam like Parks and Rec does. There are funny moments, I would say, and moments that are intentionally funny, but it's definitely not like a full-on comedy. And so it's just weird to watch a show where like it's not clearly a comedy, but nobody's dying. Because like every drama on TV is like there's bodies, you know, or it's like SVU and something horrible has happened to someone. Like it's kind of watching the show. It's so small, the show, that it just struck me as being very different, and that's not necessarily good or bad. It's just very different, and it's yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. Like that. You watch that like first diner, like the scene where like the two people meet, and you're like, okay, who's the secret agent? You know, who's the
Right.
who's gonna get killed? Like someone else in the restaurant's gonna die, and the guy's gonna reveal himself to be a detective, and it's like, oh no, they're just two people on a date. Like that's the show.
No, exactly. I was reading something from the Boston Globe, and the person who described it as like watching a one-act play. And I thought that was a really good way to put it because, yeah, it really doesn't feel like you're watching like a multicam sitcom, and it doesn't feel
No.
like you're watching, you know, a single camera like comedy like you would on, you know, like any sort of like NBC comedy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it had a different feel. So like I was watching it and I'm like, I couldn't decide, like, I guess 5 or 10 minutes in if I liked it. So it really took me until like the very end of the show to really kind of get a feel on how I like really was responding to the show.
yeah. Well, it's the whole show takes place in one set. Right, like like both the first. I don't know if you watched the second episode, but they both premiered last night, and both episodes take place in the same restaurant.
Yeah.
Different actors, same restaurant. So there's literally only one set. So it's kind of like a Hulu show, almost like one of those ultra low budget shows where it's really just like, I think both episodes featured 3, maybe 4 actors total. So,
Yeah.
but there's no star. It's different. It's a different cast each episode. It's basically taking different people and putting them on a date in a restaurant. You said that it took you until the end of the episode to come down on an opinion. What opinion did you settle on?
You know what? Actually, as I watched, I thought the chemistry between Una Chaplin and whoever the male actor was in the first episode, I really kind of caught on to the chemistry and sort of the back and forth that they had partway through the episode, and I liked it. But it's weird because I watched part of the second episode and I didn't quite respond the same way to it. Like I was really, really bored in the second episode. But I really kind of had a kind of a strong connection to these two people in the first one, and you know, it ends with her leaving and like ditching him at the end of the episode.
Yeah, well, Una Chaplin, who I think most people will know as Jane Westerling from Game of Thrones, definitely the highest profile actor involved in any of these episodes. The person she's on a date with is Will Mellor from Broadchurch.
Got
So also, you know, like he's not a nobody. You know, he's someone who's been on a popular show. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I thought the first episode had more to say than the second one. The second episode was kind of what I thought the show would be, which is um, two people meet on a date. The whole idea is that they met online and they're going on their first date. So this is the first time meeting. The second episode is a very shy school teacher goes on a date with a sort of high-powered stock trader. He is kind of a jerk the whole date, but she seems somewhat interested in him. And then in the end, she catches him having sex with the waiter in the bathroom, and she steals his wallet and runs away. So it's like that's kind of like a sort of more traditional half hour of comedy. Like that's sort of kind of what you would expect. But the first episode I thought was actually like really interesting and great performances and believable in that this was like a real first date. I thought. I don't know. I was very charmed by the first episode at least.
I really liked it. I liked that it didn't have sort of the candy coated ending because I mean, I feel like if they really wanted to go for like, predictable, it could have been that, like he found her on the street and, like she decided to, oh, I'll just give this one more shot. But I thought it was just really interesting that they had her, throughout the episode. She's very like kind of aloof and like, a little bit on the rude side and, they're trying to get to know each other and she's just giving up like no information. Like it took him even like whatever 10 minutes into the day to even learn what her actual name was.
Right, but it was what I found so interesting is the sort of meta narrative, which is that she is a veteran at online dating, right? She's someone who's been doing this for a while, and it's kind of the way that like internet cultures form, where she sort of knows all the trappings of that internet culture, the sort of culture of online dating, which is you use a fake name, you lie about your occupation, you don't give away anything personal, and she's obviously very pretty and she knows that and sort of quote unquote wins these dates. You could tell she has a history of winning dates because the guys she meets are doing the same thing, but she's prettier than they are. And so that's sort of her whole thing, is that she just goes from date to date winning dates. And he, as we learn, is I guess a cab driver with four children and a wife who has passed away, and he's not experienced. This is his first online date, and he mentions he's been on the set for 6 months, and he's a rookie, and so he doesn't know to lie about any of that. And so him being honest about that really throws her for a loop. And for a few minutes, it kind of looks like she's like reconsidering her life choices. Like it kind of sets off something in her. Like oh my god, what am I doing? Like it's with my life.
Yeah.
But then she sort of puts her defenses back up and leaves. But I just thought that was like a really like interesting and sort of clever and very subtle commentary on like dating culture. And I thought it was really well done. I was kind of like you. It took me a while to sort of figure out what I was watching in the pilot, but by the end, I really liked it.
No, exactly. And I like that they kind of had these characters who are sort of like foils, to each other. So you have, again, you have like someone who's super experienced in dating versus someone who's a complete rookie. You have someone who's sort of like a humble school teacher, trying to go out with someone who's, a very high power executive,
Right.
kind of seeing, that kind of character study. And again, because it's so intimate on the characters, it's like it's all dependent on whether, these actors can sell the scene and whether the audience kind of feels attached to what's happening because there's nothing else going on.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I mean, even like the dialogue and stuff like matters, but also because it appears to be like an episodic show. There's only so much you can do. Like the dialogue can be sparkling, but it's really got to be the actors. I feel like this show is going to vary in quality quite a bit based on the chemistry of the actors and how they get along and how compelling they are to watch. Because I mean, like we said, there is not much happening here. Like it's just it's a very sort of vibey kind of like you've got to sort of be on its wavelength, or else you're going to be really bored by it because there is not a lot going on.
No, exactly. And I thought that was sort of the disconnect that I had between the first and second episode. Like, again, that chemistry between the two actors in the first episode versus the second, and just the dynamic of what was going on. I was just so sold in the first one. And then the second was sort of like, it wasn't bad. It was just, I wasn't completely connected to what was happening.
Yeah, I didn't really like not the performance. The performance was fine, but I didn't like the character of the guy in the second. And I was intended not to like him. It wasn't like It wasn't like the show was trying to make him likable. But
No.
but I guess if like we're spending it like 22 minutes or however long with these people, like I feel like the Una Chaplin character in the first one is a character who started out as being very dislikable, but you kind of see her vulnerability as the episode goes on. But the guy in the second was just sort of like a horrible person, and it kind of felt bad to watch this very sweet school teacher, um, you know, be sort of subject to this jerk, even though she gets the last laugh at the very end. It's like, I don't know, it wasn't as like pleasant as the first one. I thought the first one was sort of interesting and pleasant. The second one kind of made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a good
So
word for it.
yeah, but unfortunately, as I mentioned in the intro, nobody watched this show. The first episode did a zero point 0.2 demo rating, and the last episode did a zero point 0.1 demo rating. so,
Oh no.
so I mean, even for the CW, that's pretty rough. Like the CW, like a 1.0 is pretty good. Um, but a little bit rough. I mean, and to be fair, there was no promotion at all for this series. You mentioned it to me in an email like last week, and I had not heard one word about it until then.
No, I literally looked it up. It was like on Metacritic on like what was airing this week, and I had never heard of it. So I just did some research, and that was the first. I hadn't seen a commercial. I hadn't seen like a poster. There was just nothing.
Yeah, yeah. So I assume that our listeners that none of them have heard of this show.
That's a safe bet.
So if they are considering watching it, and we've only talked for about 10 minutes about it, but if they're considering watching it, do you have any comparisons? Do you have any advice, like beyond what we've talked about so far? Like anything that listeners should use to determine whether they should invest the 20 minutes in the pilot?
That's a good question because I know it's from the creators of or the creator of Skins. So I
Yes.
guess if you like that, that's sort of a safe bet. But we don't really have anything really like this
We
because we
don't.
kept watching things like Mixology and like Manhattan Love Story, which like we constantly talk about and make fun of because they're so bad. But those shows I feel like are trying to do something along these lines where they're trying to talk about like dating culture and just fail because it's more like rape culture and they make
Yes.
that into a show.
Exactly. I feel like I couldn't have said that any better. Like the shows that are about quote unquote dating culture are not about actual like real world dating culture. Like
Absolutely not.
they are not. That's not how dating works. Um, this show is. I feel like these people is like are like the guys in both episodes are I would say in their either late 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
The women are either in their 30s or they're not like young beautiful people going out clubbing and saying terrible things to one another. Like this feels real in a way, and obviously like the events of the second episode were a bit um exaggerated for comic effect and to have a big ending and all that, but it there is something that rings true about this. And so I would say if you're a fan of British people, because this is a British series, so if you like British accents, that's a big plus because literally the only thing that happens is people talking, and they're all talking in British accents. So if you're big on British accents, this might be good for you.
The show is like right up your alley.
Yeah. If you don't mind awkward humor, there's a lot of sort um of the realities of dating, like early in the first episode where they're sort of standoffish and not really on the same wavelength and having a lot of difficulty getting conversation going, the way that like reality works. Like there's that's reflected here. So like maybe like if you imagine like season one of like either season of like the British Office, but like toned down by 1,000, like that's kind of like what we're talking about here. Like I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's a series that I don't think has a direct comparison currently on television. It's a series that probably honestly was better suited to be on Hulu, like just as like a online only offering, due to the clear like $10 budget and the one set. Like I feel like American audiences probably just expect more of a production. It looks fine for what it is. It's just when you only have one set, it's kind of rough. But
Yeah.
it kind of played out like an improv show or something. But yeah, I don't know. I was charmed enough by it to at least like I'm not gonna keep watching because no one else is and there's no one to talk about it with. but 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 I was at least charmed enough to interested. So That's my verdict. Have anything else to add, Olivia?
I think that's a really good way to put it. I definitely think I might kind of just peek in every now and then. I don't think this is going to be one of the shows that I'm watching on a consistent weekly basis, but it's enough that if like 3 or 4 episodes pass and I just kind of want to see what's going on, this is something that I feel like is going to be like a little bit worth checking out.
Yeah, I think that's about right. All right, final verdict: thumbs up or thumbs down on Dates?
This is the first one I'm giving up. I'm giving a thumbs up in a while, so I'm happy to give this one a big thumbs up.
Yeah, I have our episode list now. You went thumbs down Zoo, thumbs down Astronaut Wives Club. I think you gave Whispers a thumbs up.
Oh yeah, I do think I gave that one. That was like 3 weeks ago or something.
Well, it was actually a full month ago.
Oh my god! Wow.
I, on the other hand, have given Zoo a thumbs down, Astronaut Wives Club a thumbs down, Whispers thumbs down, Aquarius thumbs down, Wayward Pines thumbs down, American Odyssey thumbs down, American Crime, I think I gave a thumbs sideways to, so that might count. CSI Cyber thumbs down. Last Man on Earth was my last thumbs up, and that was on March 3rd.
Look, it's been rough.
Look, it hasn't been good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Network TV has not premiered a lot of great shows lately. I mean, it's been a while. So I am proud to say that despite the minuscule audience and literal zero ambition, I am going to give Dates a thumbs up. It was charming. It was sweet. It felt real. Has a lot of issues. Will be canceled after a week. But you know what? It kept me interested long enough to at least like overall enjoy the episode.
And it wasn't patently offensive. So.
Yes, true. It will not live in infamy the way that Mixology and Manhattan Love Story will forever live in infamy. So it's really the nicest thing you could say about a dating show. All right, you've been listening to the Pilot Roundtable, a TVBinges.com and Southgate Media Group production. You can listen to all our episodes on iTunes, where you can rate and review us. We would appreciate that. Or you can find us on SouthgateMediaGroup.com. Follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, and read everything we write at TVBinges.com. Until next time.